A special day, not just because it's Valentine's Day. No, it's Convince Kelce Day here on WIP as Jason Kelce waits to make his decision if he's going to play for the Eagles. A lot to get into today. Good morning, Hugh.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Philadelphia. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all something right now. If you send your work spouse a Valentine's Day gift, you're disrespectful. That's a disrespectful thing to do.
All right, so no
work spouse. You know how people talk about they got work spouses?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, if you send them a Valentine's gift, you're being real disrespectful.
So there's a line there.
Yeah, there's a line.
Yeah.
You already go to lunch with whomever and spend most of the time at the job. You sending Valentine's Day gifts, you are in violation.
All right, we can't have any violations. Not on a Valentine's Day, not on a Convince Kelce Day. 215-592-9494. We're got a lot coming up in the show today. Todd Herman's going to join us an hour from now. Jason Kelce's former teammate, line mate on the Eagles offensive line. Elliott later in the show, and we'll also get to a wild story about the Sixers, what they tried to do the trade deadline last week. But Hugh, you know what? I'm going to give you the floor first. You're an Eagles Hall of Famer. Jason Kelce will join you in the Eagles Hall of Fame one day, whenever it is he chooses to retire. They'll put him in there. He's an all-time Eagle. Hugh, when you think about Kelce and this coming year and the Eagles, do they still need him?
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why, especially on this Valentine's Day, because this Valentine's Day is a symbol of what Jason Kelce is to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's stability. You know, especially when you talk about people who have been in relationships for a while that they're actually buying Valentine's Day gifts for and things of that nature, it provides stability. And I think that's what you need right now. I've been making this whole spiel yesterday and the last couple of weeks about how this defense has to be revamped, and we're going to play a lot of young guys. I know some of my co-hosts and counterparts don't believe in that theory. They feel like we have to, keep some of these guys and go out in free agency and get guys and things like that. I believe that we have to let the young guys play. We got to let the young pups see what they can do. And in order to do that, we need to have some stability on the other side of the ball, because that's where we allocated most of our resources, Joe. That's where all the money is spent. So that's why I feel if there's a chance that we can get Jason Kelce back to play one more year, that'll be great, because he provides stability in a position where we already know what we're getting from there. He's still the absolute number one center in the league. There's no question about that, and he's still playing at a high level. So I feel like if we can get him back and we can get him to play one more year, that just provides a little bit more stability for us.
Well, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with stability. He's an all-time player. He is an all-time Eagle. Jason Kelce's awesome. I'm going to miss watching him play whenever it is that he moves on. But, Hugh, in every group of friends, there's like that one that will tell the other person, like, maybe no one wants to say it, but someone's got to step up and tell the friend the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it today. I'll be the one. I'll be the one. Listen, this is not about Jason Kelce as a player. It's about the franchise and where everything is at right now. I think it's best for both parties if Jason Kelce does decide to move on this offseason. Look, if he comes back, obviously we know he's going to play at a high level. But here's where I'm at. At some point, they got to move. Everyone's got to move on, specifically the Eagles. Part of the issue this year was a leadership issue.
Yes.
And I wonder how much that is, because the young guys still look at the old guys like, you guys are still in charge. And the old guys look at the young guys like, well, no, it's your team now. Jason has been the leader and the spokesperson here for a long time.
Long time.
You know what?
Totally
If he decides to move on and he goes to do TV, then Jalen Hurts probably has no choice but to be more vocal. He's got to be the guy. I think that could be a good thing. And here's the way I feel about Kelce and where he's at right now. I think he's got one foot out the door. I think he is.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I wonder, and I didn't play, not past high school, but I wonder if your mind is half out, if you could bring it back in. I'm watching Jason Kelce reports that he's meeting with Amazon, he's meeting with CBS, meeting with ESPN. He's clearly got his mind on his next phase of life. Did the documentary on Amazon last year where he talked about how excruciating the decision was. And I'm watching him at the Bills-Chiefs playoff game, shirtless and running around and having a great time.
Having a ball.
And that's fine. If that's where if he's ready for that portion of his life and to enjoy things, then he should go do it. And the last thing I'll say on this, and this isn't a matter of his play, it's a matter of the reality of the Eagles. They've drafted 2 centers in the last few years to replace him, right? They're playing guard now next to him. They've used high picks on Dickerson and Juergens. And those guys are not playing the positions they drafted them to play because Jason Kelce's still here. That they've used those picks. They have his replacements. Not just replacement. They have his replacements. He made $14.25 million last year. If Jason Kelce decides to retire, we could give that money to Hassan Reddick.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree.
We could build a defense with that money. So I think it could actually benefit both parties.
But here's the difference. And I agree with you to the extent where you talk about how he probably has 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Mm-hmm.
But, Joe, he had 1 foot in and 1 foot out last year. And he was still the best center in the game.
He was. He
is in a rarefied position where, like, normally you hear guys that are not all in, and it shows with their gameplay. It shows. That was not the case with Jason Kelce. So he's in that rare position. He's in the catbird seat where he can sit back and he can ponder as much as he wants to whether or not he wants to play or if he wants to go do television. He can even sit back and wonder how much money he can make doing both. And I'm pretty sure I could see right now vividly, if he does not play next year, they're going to have some kind of party that's probably going to be thrown with him as the host at the Super Bowl next year in New Orleans. That's how his brand is going right now. But he can still play at a high level. And right now, to your point, I don't know what the deal is with this team as far as the leadership and where the breakdown was and all this other good stuff. I feel more comfortable having him in there, knowing that he can still play at a high level, and he might provide some stability to those young guys that are coming in.
Certainly. And look, if he decides to play and he's all in, it's not a bad thing. I just see the positives for both sides if he does decide to move on. I don't think they need him anymore. 215-592-9494. Let's listen to his teammate here, Jordan Mailata, what he recently said about Jason Kelce. And look, when you hear people that are close to him that played on the line with him, and we heard that report right after the game in Tampa, that he basically told everyone I'm out. Now, I don't know what's happened over the past month since then. Maybe he's changed his mind.
Party like a rock star.
Yeah, well, I know that. I've seen him do that a lot the last month here. Here's Jordan Mailata talking about Jason Kelce and his future.
There's no shot. You're telling me if he's going shirts off in the games, gambling in the casinos, he's coming back? No way. He's having too much fun. He's out there living his life. Now, I'm going to miss him for sure, man. This has been the greatest 6 years of my life for sure. Being here in the NFL and getting to meet people like Jason Kelce has been an honor.
Shirts off at the game means you're out. I think the logic is pretty sound there by Jordan Mailata. 215-592-9494. Do the Eagles still need Jason Kelce? I don't think they do. I think it's time for everyone. I actually think it's beneficial for both parties. I mean, Kelce, you said it there. He had 1 foot out this past year, Hugh. I'm going to revise what I said. He's got 1.5 feet out now.
He got 1.5 feet.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a half a foot left in this
Still
thing.
the best player.
I know,
best center in the game.
but I am starting to wonder if the mental part is there. Like, he could play at a physical level that most 36-year-old centers can't. I do wonder if you're spending your entire month after the season having a good time, hanging around your brother, and meeting with teams about your networks about your next job. Is he mentally into this offseason?
Probably not, but he doesn't have to be. Like, he doesn't have to be because he's milling two things. Like, for the people that are mad at him for running around with his shirt off, doing the WWE dive on tables and everything, this offseason just started Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, it just started
Sunday.
Sunday.
Well, the NFL offseason, right.
Yeah. So, wait, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying that in totality.
I got you. Yeah. It just started.
Yeah. He has time to get ready to play. Everybody blows off a little bit of steam. When people get 3-day weekends, they drink a little bit more than they did because they know they don't have to go to work Sunday. It's no different for him. When it's time for him to go to work, he knows how to get his body prepared for the season. So anybody that's worried about that, stop worrying about it. He's a professional. And another thing is he has time. Like I said, he got time to mill it over. Him and his wife are going to sit down, and they're going to weigh all his options. And money's going to probably factor into it in his love for the game. Now, to your point, he might not love the game as much as he once did, and he might be looking at it like, hey, when you talk about, like, everybody doesn't get to walk off the field making a ton of money and walk into another job making as much or even more money. There's only a few guys that have done that. Even when I walked off the field, there was a significant pay cut. Now, to be honest, it wasn't that significant where it changed my lifestyle, but it's still a significant pay cut. You know what I mean? And and you have to adjust to that. He's not going to have to do that. He's not going to have to do any of that. So he needs to figure out whether or not he wants to make his money, physically or mentally. That's it. And I'm pretty sure His wife's probably leaning more towards the mental aspect of it. But as a former player and as a guy that watched him play this year, I feel more comfortable if he was out there. Now, if he doesn't want to play, I totally understand that. But I feel that if he did, he would provide a little bit more stability to that offense that we need to start clicking in order to put us in position to make it back to the big day.
There's no question if he comes back, he'll be a positive as a player, as a leader. We know we know what he is. He's an all-timer. But I look at it like this. They've spent a lot of money on a center. Most teams don't spend that money on a center. They've got two guards that are supposed to be centers. One of them certainly could play center next year. They've got an entire defense to rebuild. They've got a pass rusher who wants more money. And I'm like, are we really going to spend $15 million on a 36-year-old center just so we feel good for another year, so we could have stability for another year? I think it's best if both sides move on. If Jason goes and has that next phase of his life and the Eagles turn the page and start getting ready for the next phase of leaders, the next phase of this offense, and maybe pay a little money to the defense. 215-592-9494. It is Convince Kelce Day today on WIP. Hugh made his pitch, and my feeling actually is the opposite, that I think it'd be best for both sides if Jason Kelce decides to retire here. Travis, though, his brother, listen to what he recently said about the idea of Jason being at that Week 1 game next year in Brazil.
You think Jason plays in that Brazil game?
I think so. I don't know. I'm not a betting man, but I think he's got some football left.
What are the odds?
What are the odds?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'm going to leave that up to him.
What are the odds right now? I'd say it's about even. I don't know what he's going to do. 3 weeks ago, I would have said, yeah, he's out. Now I think it is 50-50. 215-592-9494. Your chance today to convince Kelce. We know he listens. I mean, he drives around. He's in the area. He listens. If he's listening today, your chance to convince Jason Kelce to come back, or maybe it is just best for both sides if Kelce and the Eagles go their different ways and Kelce could go do, I'm sure, have a very, very successful career. The thing about it, Hugh, is before we go to the phones, wherever he goes, Fox, Amazon, whatever role they put him in, I think he's going to be outstanding at it. He's going to be great.
He's going to kill it. Like I look at guys like Marshawn Lynch. I don't know if you saw any of the stuff that he did over Super Bowl weekend. Marshawn Lynch is getting paid to be himself. Like Jason Kelce's going to get paid just to be himself. Marshawn Lynch out there with a microphone talking bad to 49ers fans, like extremely bad. Like it's so bad you can't even play any of the cuts on the air, but he's getting paid to be himself. That's where this game is gone now. And Jason Kelce is an authentic person. They love that. They like his authentic self. He's going to probably be paid. Like, he could probably go somewhere and just get paid to be drinking. That's it. Get drunk.
Not bad. That's not a bad living if you can find it.
That's not a bad living, man, and to be himself. Because I saw something this weekend. They had Gronk Island or something at the Super Bowl.
Gronk Island.
Yeah, they had it was like Gronk had a whole thing, and it was bananas. Like, so yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's in a rarefied position where he's going to be, regardless of what he does, he's going to be okay. Him and his family are going to be okay.
They will be. And I think the Eagles will be okay too, whenever it is he moves on.